flagship event of Kartavya. This event is a 2-day program taking an initiative brought forward to expand the horizon of knowledge of aspirants and all the students about the critical defense-related aspects of the country, in which great dignitaries related to defense are invited to share their knowledge and experiences about the current scenario of the defense panorama in India. This time, we bring to you a precarious global order.
A leader is who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. KMC-NCC was formed in the year 1964 as a unique way of living.
And for the discussion together. And most importantly, dear students who are the nation builders of tomorrow, speaking to produce a better India than what my generation gave it to you. You all are much more intelligent, much more aware, much more responsible. Land border with anybody, they don't have a land border challenging. Same was the case with USSR also. Because they are also self-sufficient in everything, whether you talk of oil, energy, etc., etc. The same is not the case with China. Even so, therefore, now Cold War, the threat from the points both. And this brings up recently been buzzword is we were destroying, now India could destroy us. That is what they think about it. So that's one part of it. Now with this kind of turbulent global order, so now you find that there is two very clear-cut, shall I say, pillars of power have emerged. America and Europe on one side, and you find China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, and the Middle East floating around in between, both trying to woe the Middle East part, and that's how the things are happening. And the Israeli side, although I can talk to everybody, but the divisions are quite evident. And similarly, you find the Russia, China, looking at Iran in some manner. And so this is how where it is. As far as India is concerned in this whole game, India is trying to find a balance. Now, we were overly dependent on Russia for defense equipment. And the reason was very simple. The West did not give us the technology. Help every democracy and we are democratic and etc. etc. But then the fact is that all the dictators in Pakistan were supported by US. So one can't believe what they do. And in that context, India's position, even America sees opportunities in India, as the interests are common. That suits our strategic interest for the simple reason because we want to be counted. And if we have to be counted, then we leaders were the initial, but they didn't ratify that. So therefore, as far as they are concerned, there is no Johnson and everybody wants to.
The island and other countries. Now, we have plans. That's what you see in the South China. Came across this part like these borders. India and Pakistan was one entity. It's the devious British who decided that they wanted to have a toehold in the subcontinent because India was the jewel in the empire. They wanted to stay here. They wanted to control the events because after all, the Gulf, the Middle East was where all the oil was coming and everything was passing by this area. They wanted to have a toehold. So in a very smart move, they said that to have a famous trip to Beijing, speaking that those days, when he was here in 1970 to ask them to attack India in case India invades East Pakistan, which is there. So, but what happened? East Pakistanis had risen in revolt against their own Muslim brethren. And today we are home to more than Muslims, or as much Muslims as there are in Pakistan. We are the second largest nation of. So it really didn't become a haven, but it was a geopolitical agenda that they had. And they created an enemy for us permanently in that border. And we have a thing called the international boundary. And then what do we have what is the other boundary called? Yeah, you go and see the movie, but you don't know what the thing is. We have a lot of film stars here. I think so. When you see LOC, you must remember that border mentioned. It's the oldest border professional forces in the world, done very well. And for the maritime boundaries, you have the coast. The objectives of the border management of the NHA is very clearly, it says securing the country's borders against interests hostile to our country and putting in place the systems that are able. It requires a whole of intelligence. Do not think in terms of why did the British rule us so, a few lakh people governed over 30 million people. It was because when their administration existed, they all worked in cohesion. So now people
for developmental order and global order बचा नहीं है. ये security. What is security? What is environment is security. Climate change is security. Migration is security. Sea security. Border is security. Social cohesion is security, isn't it? So when you talk about security, security is a vast ambit. Such a vast ambit. Now securitization is a debate. When somebody, when you go for IAS question answers, and I do take tests, maybe I'll see one or two of you coming up in the next panel. When we ask you security, people come back to say Pakistan, China. Security is a larger word. So when somebody asks you what is security of India, Pakistan. I'll take on China. Of course, Asthana has been to China often. I have been to China on the border side, crossed over once or twice. There are two only economy. We are still about 4, just touching 4. So there is no competition. Chinese economy down ho gaya hai, फिर भी $1 trillion is increasing every year. So the fact of the matter is, and the other part in dollar is increasing every year. So the fact of the matter is, and the other part is Chinese also understand कि लड़के गुजारा नहीं है. लड़ाई जो है ना, हम फौजी we hate wars. So we've seen death at close quarters. But we have to be prepared for it. The Chinese understand that if there is a war, you can't, things can change. So they don't want a war. They don't want war type victory. In this war avoidance game, they have to tie us down in a manner. So best way is, उनको 2,500 साल से एक चीज बोलते हैं, बिना लड़के जितनी जमीन हड़पा लो, वही अच्छा है. This is Chinese philosophy. And this is what they have been following. There are many people who have written. Sun Tzu has written, Zhuge Liang. उनको अपनी पेरिफेरी से क्या चाहिए? उनकी चाइनीज की हिस्ट्री में एक वो ट्रिब्यूटरी सिस्टम था. तो राजा तो छोटे-छोटे राजे आके ना उनको वो दिया करते थे. छोटे खड़ग, छोटे हथियार, छोटा मतलब उनको जो दुआ सलाम करना है, छोटा हमें आप दुआ सलाम. जैसे अश्वमेध यज्ञ होता था ना, तो उनका एक ट्रिब्यूटरी सिस्टम हुआ करता था चाइना में. China still thinks that there are. What is China been doing to us? Every place it is opposed us. Sajid Khan was speaking on telephone to the terrorist in Bombay, in the hotel. It is recorded conversation. It is that man is recognized, his voice is recognized. कहते नहीं terrorist नहीं है, approve करो. तब तक हम इसको international terrorist नहीं होने देंगे. Every place they are opposing us. In nuclear suppliers group they oppose us. They said नहीं India को उठने नहीं देना. That's the kind of pressure that they are bringing us into. Now, so what have they done? जब मूड बनता है, हमारी स्टेट्स के नाम, ईटानगर का नाम कोई और नाम हुआ, अपने नाम बदलते रहते हैं. वो अपने नाम लगा देते हैं. भैया कोई मतलब है तुम्हारा कि भाई तो ये नाम, इसका टिबेटियन नाम ये है, इसका ये नाम ये है, तो नाम बदलकर प्रेशर ना. China हुआ है, just sitting there. That's the thing that is important here. Then the गढ़वाल हिमालय, वहाँ से उसके सामने से शुरू होके पूरा हिंदुस्तान के नक्शे पे जाती है, आगे से घूम के मिक्स एस बेंड, जोर से बेंड करके वापस हिंदुस्तान में अरुणाचल प्रदेश से एंटर करके ब्रह्मपुत्र नाम पड़ जाता है. उसको जो हम बोलते हैं यालुंग सैंग, मस्ट ट्राई बाय. ओके, कभी भी थैंक यू नहीं बोलते. हाय क्या बात है. That great aspect, 40 dams have been built there on this one. And you can make a dam, they are making special tactics, and there are routes for lower riparian states. India has not entered, Bangladesh wants a treatment, but we have upper riparian, and there is a problem here. We are not making a dam on Tista River. बना रहे हैं, और किस किस्म का डैम है, कितना पानी स्टोरेज होगा, कब खोलेंगे. अभी बरसात ज्यादा होगी, डैम भर गया, दरवाजा खोल देंगे, so you will flood them. That's the kind of pressure tactics that we are doing. Then is of course cyber attacks. Now the cyber coordinator said 40,000 attacks took place last year. There's a recent one जिसमें बोला है कि हमने भी, इंडिया ने भी अटैक में वो जो through Bitcoin had large number of attacks. Some of things are not known. For example, बाद में न्यूयॉर्क न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स wrote this. एक हवाई जहाज सुखोई गिर गया ईस्ट में. All these are cyber attacks because इतना सामान खरीदा चाइना से और चेक भी नहीं किया कि उसके अंदर कोई स्लीपर कोई ट्रोजन है कि नहीं है. So now our कोई स्लीपर कोई ट्रोजन है कि नहीं है. So now our larger amount of banking industry, railways, power sector are all that follow Mr. Lee. It came from Wuhan. Australians said so. So what they did is, okay, wines, fantastic wines produced by Australia. Australia was selling 40 million liters of wines from Australia. No beef, no wines, no beef. कोई बच्चे नहीं लेंगे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में, बच्चे नहीं जाएंगे पढ़ने के लिए. All these Melbourne University, Monash University, New South Wales, RMIT, all university, DU, but otherwise it's all. नहीं खरीदेंगे जो सिंकियांग में प्रोड्यूस होती है. मार्केटिंग मॉल्स और लोटे LOTT, one of them in China. Is it आपका and this is biggest threat that we have today. More threat than the borders is the threat of 136. अब हमको बोलते हैं कि भैया मत खरीदो चाइना से. And I enter. हम मत खरीदे, नहीं खरीदते. न्यूक्लियर बॉयलर चाइना से आता है. हर सोलर पैनल चाइना से आता है. बैटरी चाइना से आती है. अगर और जो हम अब हमारे एक्सपोर्ट्स बढ़ रहे हैं तो that are rising unfortunately have from China. So minute we say we will not take anything from China means we can't APIs. You know about APIs, most of the
respond all disputes. Buy your time, create your strength, and when you become strong and when you're strong, then you can do that. So tomorrow trillion economy, we can think of saying especially like enhancing defense exports in every possible manner. Therefore, we also know that there is a problem of defense exports. What has happened was when Britishers ruled India and when when Indian Army was born, they shifted everything to India, but they never shifted the major defense manufacturing to India. So when we were born as a country, we didn't have the defense manufacturing and therefore we had a long lead. Unfortunately, in defense, it's a very lucrative industry. Nobody gives the technology. So therefore, what happened was, we were searching for technology and a little bit of technology, whatever. We have not emerged as a good defense supplier. So now I think the time has come. There are a fair amount of government policies which are being directed towards that, and hopefully our exports are going to rise, and they are rising. And with that, it's not the case because, as he rightly mentioned, the exports, even with China, we are on standoff. Can you believe it? Our trade with China has grown manyfold. And I can personally say, there was one BJP leader, one day I was discussing with him, why is it growing? He says, sir, the problem is like this, not to buy, in some manner or the other, as he explained, and I'll just amplify that. He says he will drag us to WTO. We have a problem to pay. The only way how it can reduce it hasn't changed. If the consumption pattern doesn't change, this figure will not go down. This is how things stand, and that's why you might have seen long back Mahatma Gandhi when he said कि विदेशी सामान नहीं, not interfere in anybody's internal affairs and nobody should interfere in ours. In between, the West also keeps criticizing us. Sometimes Kashmir, sometimes all that things that keep happening. Somebody passes something in the United Nations, and all of a sudden the media goes gaga to say that okay.
Report that people suffer, and the blockade causes so much of grievance, and there is now is can come. And then some event happens, then we go running, and then we demand okay, हमने बांग्लादेश को independent किया था, तो event happens, then we go running. And then we demand कि हमने बांग्लादेश को इंडिपेंडेंट किया था तो आपने ठेका ले लिया आपका. You see, to grow as a global power of reckoning, we have with us. You can't say I am a global power, पर मेरी आपस की country neighbor से नहीं बनती है. It can't be done like this. If your neighbors are not your friends, then you can't be a nation to reckon with in the future. We have the same dress, many other. You see, हमारा ह्यूमर भी सेम है, हमारा जोक भी वही है, सड़े सड़े जोक मारते हैं, जो नेपाल के जोक है वो हमारे इंडिया के जोक है, हमारे ह्यूमर भी वही है. fact of the matter is that if they are all best of friends, you go outside to Germany and say, मैं एक साल रहने आया हूँ. Firstly, when you come back to the subcontinent, आप अच्छा ये वो है. I mean, this is very stupid attitude. And so what that you are a big country? Are you? You know, the word which is hated in South Asia is something called big brother. बड़ा भाई. तो बड़ा भाई कैसे हो गया हमारे यार? मैं भी सॉवरेन कंट्री हूँ. मेरा भी एक वोट है यूनाइटेड नेशंस में जैसे इंडिया. आप नेपाल को बता देना है, मैं आपके बारे में बोल रहा था.
The fact is that we have to take the region with us if we need to develop. We are saying America हो गया, वो रशिया हो गया, अफ्रीका हो गया, वो सब जानते हैं. Everybody knows what is your relation with your neighbors. That's the most important.
In our flagship event, Kartavya conducted Agni, the defense quiz, an ultimate test that assesses the depth of knowledge about the field of military and defense. So now we'll be announcing the winners of the Agni quiz. Are you guys excited? Yeah. We'll see your excitement.
Now I would like to call Dr. Bipin Kumar to honor Colonel DPK Pillay sir with a memento.